what is the certification status like with the the FAA in order to begin launches and the horizontal launches like you mentioned?
Well, when the concept came to us, there was two things that we were told we needed to do. One, to get limited liability shielding in place, which is a legislative process, and the other one is to get the spaceport license. And so we started both of them basically last, November of last year. And it was funny, the limited liability shielding went very well. And that doesn't mean that it was easy, because we had a real struggle to get people to put their hands around it, and especially the trial lawyers. But we got that legislation through both our Senate and the House with 100% vote. And so, that was just kind of like an endorsement that you're headed the right way, that we've got the Colorado legislation behind it. And before that, our governor had he had talked to the AST, and he wanted to get Colorado designated as a spaceport state.
I'm sorry, the AST?
AST is the Office of Commercial Space Transportation, and they use that acronym. So that's that group of the FAA that oversees the space portion. And so the governor got asked for state designation to have a spaceport, and then indicated that Front Range Airport would be that site. And then our full Colorado congressional delegation got on board. And then when we did Senate Bill 1235, all of our legislators, our state legislators, got on board. And so we were also started trying to get our hands around how we were going to do the spaceport license, because we're airport operators, and we work with the FAA, a different branch of the FAA, to build the airport. And we started what's known as a pre-application process. We started that back in February, and that's basically filling out the application, at least enough of it so that the FAA could get an idea of, do you really know what you're doing? And I went back to Washington at a conference and had that pre-application meeting. And because we're an airport operator, I mean, building a spaceport is kind of like building an airport. I mean, an airport and a spaceport in the industry are going to be kind of the same animals. And so as we went through the pre-application process, the FAA said, yeah, we're comfortable that you guys can do this. And so then we went out with a request for qualifications, because we're airport people. And it was like, we don't know anything about spaceports. We need to have some help. So we wanted to get some consultants that were spaceport consultants to come in and help us. So we did the RFQ, which the request for qualifications. In a sense, it was kind of like asking spaceport consultants to help us write the specifications so we could do a RFP, a request for proposals. And so we went through the RFQ process. We're at a point where we're probably within 2 to 3 weeks of releasing a request for proposals to spaceport consultants. And then let's say in 60 to 90 days, we'll have a spaceport consultant team selected. And then we'll start the application process. And as we understand it, that's about a 6-month process to do the feasibility study and the environmental and the work that you would need to do to look at the spaceport. What would you need to add as far as infrastructure and so forth? And then the FAA takes 6 months to review it. So if you had all that together, you could say, if we got started pretty soon, by this time next year, we could have a spaceport license for horizontal launch. And that's the key that with Front Range Airport, because it's in the cutout of the Class B airspace, which is one of our more stringent airspace requirements in the United States. And so we're not going to do a vertical launch up through that airspace. It would be horizontal launch. And the concept that people that we're working with is that dual propulsion, a horizontal launch, basically a vehicle that takes off like a standard aircraft and comes back and lands like a standard aircraft. And that's something that can easily be accommodated in that Class B airspace. Now, there's some pretty exciting things on the horizon, like unmanned aerial systems And because we think we can be a spaceport, we also think we can be a UAS test site for unmanned aerial systems. And the technology is just so exciting. I mean, you look at your cell phone and look at how much technology is in there. That same technology is going to allow us better control of our aircraft system, I mean, of air traffic control. And through next generation, we will more finely define how aircraft are going to arrive and depart airports. And what that means is that we're going to free up space for space planes and UAVs at Front Range Airport. So what we're trying to find out is, what's the showstopper? Why shouldn't we do this? And so far, we haven't found any showstoppers. We've got a lot of support, and we're moving forward, and we think we're going to be add a spaceport designation to our airport status.